Hey there, I'm your host Ryota and welcome to Bridge by Candlelight. This is a podcast where we explore the beauty of craftsmanship, philosophy, and culture from Japan, Finland, and beyond. We focus on stories, bridging connections between cultures, and sharing insights and value along the way. We have English episodes on Spotify and all major platforms, and Japanese episodes on stand.fm. Today's topic is minimalism. Many of you have probably tried decluttering or at least considered it, but there's a common misconception that minimalism is only about owning fewer things. So in this episode, we'll dive into what minimalism really is, why it feels so good at first, and how it can backfire if taken to extremes. We'll also compare how Japan and Finland approach minimalism and offer practical insights you can tailor to your own life. So let's jump right in. So first, let's talk about why minimalism feels good initially. Minimalism often feels like a breath of fresh air in our busy modern world. When we reduce clutter, we reduce what psychologists call decision fatigue. By having fewer objects in your environment, you naturally make fewer choices each day. Something as simple as choosing what to wear or where to place your phone becomes less of a chore. That simplicity can be a huge relief for some of us. Also, our brains get a quick dopamine boost from seeing a tidy space. You know, that satisfying rush you get when you see a sparkling kitchen counter or an orderly shelf. That rush can be quite addictive, which is one reason why so many people latch onto minimalism at first. Culturally, we are also seeing more lifestyles that emphasizes less is more. So minimalism fits neatly into many current trends, from capsule wardrobes to tiny homes. Okay, next let's talk about the pitfalls of minimalism. While minimalism can be great, it can also backfire if we use it too rigidly or for the wrong reasons. Let's break down some common pitfalls. First one is forced minimalism, which can create resentment. If you force yourself, or someone else for that matter, to throw away items purely for the sake of having less, resentment can build up. According to Dr. Joy Jacobs, a psychologist specializing in stress management, when people feel pressured to let go of their belongings, it can trigger a sense of loss and even anger, because they haven't chosen the change freely. The next point is excessive decluttering, which can lead to identity loss. If you get rid of objects that actually represents important memories or aspects of your identity, you might feel that a part of you is being stripped away as well. Sometimes minimalism devotees pursue an extreme version of owning nothing, and in that process they lose crucial parts of their personal history or a sense of self. The third point is anxiety and regret, which can lead to the aftermath of extreme minimalism. The constant worry about whether you got rid of something too important can lead to regret. Anxiety creeps up when you realize you needed an item you discarded, or you missed something that held sentimental value to you. So there you go. That is 3 pitfalls to watch out when you're trying out minimalism. Forced minimalism, which results to resentment. Excessive decluttering, which could result in identity loss. Or anxiety and regret, which could be the aftermath of extreme minimalism. So next, I'd like to have a different perspective on this topic, but before we continue, I'd like to mention one thing, and that here on this podcast, we often look to examples from Japan and Nordic countries like Finland, because they can provide new insights or perspectives on the topic we discuss. But this doesn't mean we are limiting our worldview solely to these 2 regions, or that their examples are the only or the absolute best out there. What we're rather trying to do is we want to spark your curiosity, like gently illuminating an idea with a candle flame, and encourage you to explore further. So, with that said, let's continue. For today's viewpoint, let's look at comparative insights from Japanese and Finnish minimalism. Let's explore how 2 cultures, Japan and Finland, develop their unique takes on minimalism and what we can learn from them. From the Japanese side, we will be looking at the philosophical roots, the intentional use of negative space, and finding meaning in small details. First, let's look at the philosophical roots in Zen and wabi-sabi. In Japanese minimalism, it is deeply influenced by Zen concepts and the aesthetics of wabi-sabi. Zen philosophy values simplicity and the mental space that comes from having fewer distractions. Wabi-sabi, on the other hand, finds quiet beauty in imperfection and impermanence. Both encourage a mindful awareness and an appreciation for what remains once excess is removed. On the second point, let's look at intentional use of negative space. In the traditional Japanese architecture and interior design, let's think it in a way of like tatami rooms or tea ceremony rooms. And in these places, they emphasize the importance of negative space. By leaving parts of a room intentionally empty, you foster a sense of calm and clarity. And on a third note, let's look at finding meaning in small details. So, in the Japanese traditional tea ceremony, sado, it is all about savoring that single cup of tea. When you do that, you notice subtle textures and shadows. The Japanese culture often celebrates the mindful observation. So rather than filling every corner with decorations and details, the focus is on truly seeing and valuing what's right there in front of you. So in this example, the tea ceremony, or sado in Japanese, it is in no way an everyday minimalism in an everyday household, but it is one that's quite powerful nonetheless. So in the Japanese tea ceremony, the utensils, the cups, and the overall space are kept minimal and calm. The host and the guest pay close attention to each object's design and placement in that space, finding depth and warmth in the simplest of arrangements. Next, let's go around the globe to Finland and look at the Finnish side. For the Finnish minimalism, I will be looking into 2 aspects. One is less but better practicality, and the second is strong connection to nature. For the finished design is symbolized by pioneers like Alva Aalto and brands like Marimekko and many more. They are known for being both functional and beautiful. In a region with harsh winters and dark days, quality and practicality becomes quite critical. This leads to a culture where fewer possessions are fine, as long as each one is well made and truly serves a purpose. For the second point, let's look at strong connection to nature. Finland is famous for its forests and lakes, and this connection to nature shows up in home designs as well. There are lots of wood, natural light, and neutral or earthy color palettes, often influenced by nature. The overall goal is to create a warm, comfortable environment, especially during the long, dark winters. Putting all that together, imagine a cozy wooden chair by a window. So imagine owning a single sturdy wooden chair near a large window. When you sit down to read or enjoy a moment of calm, you're not distracted by clutter all around you. Instead, you savor the natural light that comes from the window, the warmth of the wood, and the gentle quiet of your surroundings. It is at these kind of time that you may notice the small things in life. And by appreciating these things, I feel that maybe it plays a small but significant role in why Finnish people are said to be the happiest people in the world. So there you go. 2 ways of thinking about minimalism that you may or may not have thought about before. If you enjoy stillness, reflection, and the subtle beauty of open, uncluttered space, then you might lean towards the Japanese minimalism style. Or if you value functional comfort and touch of nature and warmth in your household, you'll likely resonate more with a Finnish approach of less but better. I talked a lot about minimalism and different ways of looking at it today, but what I really want to say, today's most important message that I wanted to say is that realizing your priority in what you love is very important. In essence, what's truly important in your minimalism journey is recognizing your priority. It's your priority in what you love, is what I'm trying to say, and it's perfectly fine to have multiple hobbies or keep sentimental items. What I want to say is use minimalism practices to create a clean slate first, then reducing decision fatigue, then reorganize around what genuinely brings you joy. Then you can stop when you feel you have enough. At that point, I believe it is your perfect personal balance for a welcoming environment. I would like to point out that I am in no means trying to dismiss all the popular minimalism or decluttering messages or books out there. I actually quite like a lot of them. Many of us have tried, for example, the KonMari method of Marie Kondo, asking yourself, does this spark joy as you declutter? And it's a great way to start decluttering. But I feel that there's a critical follow-up question that you should be asking yourself, and that is, after removing the clutter, you must consciously fill your space with what you truly love. or truly value. So minimalism itself isn't the goal. It shouldn't be the goal. It is ultimately a tool. So once you eliminate distractions, you free up time and mental space for family, creativity, a well-deserved rest, or whatever truly matters to you. Imagine it as a big stage. So minimalism helps you to clear it all out, and after that, you decide which people or activities or objects gets the spotlight in your life. This episode has gotten a little longer than usual, but I would like to share one last note, and that is I would like to share with you a simple 4-step guide. So if you're interested and just started looking into this, or you have tried it before and stopped for whatever reason, here's a simple actionable framework to help you navigate through minimalism in a healthy way. I call it RACE, as in minimalism is not a race, it's a journey, and it is an acronym for reflect, act, check in, and embrace. So first, get some pen and paper ready and ask yourself these reflection questions. What matters most to me at this stage of life? And also ask yourself, which items or activities truly support my well-being or goals at this stage of my life? And next, which possessions or habits have I outgrown, and which still brings genuine happiness? Take a moment and write those questions down. Next step is action. So here's a very easy exercise for a balanced minimalism, and that is a 30-day box method. So place items that you're unsure about in a box for 30 days. Now you have to make yourself a rule that you're not allowed to look inside the box, but to make sure that you know what's inside the box. And then if you don't need the items within the box or miss them at all during that time, it's probably safe to let them go. So if you find that you truly need or love something, it's right there to bring it out. So it's a very low risk type of action, and of course at this the action stage you can try out any other minimalism practices out there of your choice. And the next point is C, which is for check-in. What I would like to suggest is to have regular check-ins with yourself. Let's say every month you ask yourself, is my minimalism practice freeing me or stressing me out? At this point, you should be checking if any resentment or anxiety or identity loss is creeping in, and you can adjust as needed at this point. Allow yourself to reclaim any items that you miss, or step back from strict rules. Some flexibility can go a long way for you to have a continuous minimalism journey. And finally, the E in RACE, which stands for embrace. So this is for you to fill your space back with meaning. So once you've actually decluttered, be mindful of how you use your newly cleared space, both physically and mentally. So decide how it can be best serve you. So whether that's a reading nook, or a family gathering spot, or simply a place for a calm reflection. Introduce only what enhances your life. A comfortable chair for reading, for example, a musical instrument that you love, or maybe a new plant that brightens your mood. So embrace what you find about yourself and use that knowledge to fill your space. So that's it. That's my race method. Please try taking it home and see if it works for you. So I hope today's episode has given you a new perspective on minimalism, one that balances the joy of decluttering with the importance of filling your life with what truly matters. If you enjoyed the discussion, remember to subscribe and leave a comment or rating. Let me know what topics you'd like to hear about next, or share your own minimalism stories. Thank you for listening to Bridge by Candlelight. Together, let's make tomorrow just a little more colorful than today. See you next time.